What's up YouTube, it's your dog Buggy Okra and we back with another video. Today we're going to be going over 10 tips that I use in Pro Tools to just improve my workflow and help me to move smoothly and quickly whenever I'm in a mixing session or recording session. So with that being said, let's get to it. So the first tip we're going to be going after is how to set up your tempo by using the tap tempo in Pro Tools. And basically this is going to sync your beat to the timeline grid. You want to do this because whenever you're using like your delays and your reverbs and everything is going to be synced in timing based off when you choose like a half delay or a fourth delay, a quarter delay, is going to be synced in time perfectly. And also if you want to make like edits and like beat drops and like stutters and stuff like that to your audio on your timeline, it allows you to do this and everything be synced into tempo. All right, boom. So we have a beat right here. So the way I want to find the tempo for this song is I'm gonna go to the one of the song. So where the first kick hits on the one, I'm gonna find that. So for this beat, this is where it is. Especially for like MP3 tracks, and whenever you print like an MP3 track, it always leaves like a slight little space in the beginning of the record. So what I would do is I'm gonna go to like the first kick, I'm gonna zoom in, go to like where the first kick starts, right? And then I'm gonna cut that and I'm gonna move it over to the first one. So basically this one right here, I'm gonna move it over. And then I could go to tempo right here. And whenever you go to tempo, you see this BPM right here. You could basically go on your keyboard and like tap the T and you'll notice that the tempo is changing, right? So what I would do is I'm gonna just tap the T until it syncs in with the tempo of the beat. So let's do that right now. Go to this tempo and we're gonna tap it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Buggy hit him with the drummer. All right. So right now it's saying that the tempo is on 135. A lot of times you might be close or you might be in the vicinity. So what I always like to do is I have a click track here just to make sure that everything is good. And I'm gonna play the click track and see if it's syncing throughout the entire song. And I can tell that's a little too fast. So what I would usually do is I would just take this tempo and I'm gonna just move it down until I feel like it fits. Buggy hit him with the drummer. This is Gucci, this is good. And I'm gonna just go through the entire track to just make sure that it's syncing. Boom, so that's perfect. So now if I want to add like any drops or anything to the beat, or if I want to make any changes or add any special effects, it'll all be synced to tempo perfectly. So like let's say I want to add a drop to the end of this section. I could do that right here. Like let's say this last 4 and it's gonna sound perfect. You know what I'm saying? So it's always good to make sure that you have your tempo and everything synced into the track because you can do edits easier. And then whenever you're working on a session, if an artist asks you to drop something or let's slow down this section or you know like let's take out this one kick, you can do it because every kick and every snare is more than likely synced into tempo. It might not be perfect, but because you got the overall tempo of the song right, it should be good enough to where it's flowing and it's synced up properly. All right, so for the second workflow tip, what we're gonna be going over is basically how to group multiple tracks in the group window. Basically, this allows you to alter different attributes on several tracks at the same time. So basically, if I want to turn on the volume on like multiple tracks, I don't have to go to each individual track to turn down each individual volume. Basically, I could group everything together and then I could just turn down all the volumes as one. All right, bet. So if you go in Pro Tools, we have a session here right now. It's basically a fully recorded session, right? If you go to the side, if you see the cursor, if you go to the side here, you see how it becomes like this little cross right here. If you double click it at the side, you see that you have this tracks window and you have this groups window. You feel me? At this group window, basically this way you can see all the groups that's in your tracks. So right now I currently don't have anything grouped aside from the all. The all is already always here. But if I wanted to group tracks, so let's say these kicks to perks, right? I wanted to group all these drums so I can control everything all as one. What I would do is I would grab all of these, select all of these, all right? And then I can hit Command and G and this window is gonna pop up right here. And then when you get this window right here, this is basically how you could group your tracks. So I'm just gonna group these as drums. I'm gonna call these drums and then you can choose a selector. This is basically just a shortcut that you can use to turn the grouping off, right? Boom, grouping right here. So now all of these is gonna be in a group called drums. And once I hit OK, it's gonna create a group. Another thing that you can do is you can go to this globals right here, and then you can select what you want to be grouped together. So right now, all we have is volume and mute. So if I turn on the volume on these group tracks, then the volume is gonna go down together all as one, and I have the mute. So if I hit mute, it's gonna mute all of these. If I solo it, it's gonna solo all of these included, and if I automate it in automation mode, it's gonna do that. But you can choose a whole bunch of things. You can choose record enable, so whenever you hit record, it'll record on every single group. You could do the input monitoring, you could do the controls, you could do the inserts. So like, let's say if I wanted to bypass one of these inserts and I wanted it to do the same thing for every single one, for kick, tom, clap, close, hi-hats, I would have to select bypass here, and then it'll allow me to do all of that. So you could come in here and choose in this window, but this is how you create groups. And let me show you how the importance of it. So now that we got this group here, if I wanted to turn out everything, so I'm gonna play the song real quick.
Nah, I ain't giving shit for free. Seen them niggas moving different, I ain't get suspicious, I'm just moving differently. Thinking that they got the drop on me, I hold my head, as I mentioned, kiss my teeth.
So if I wanted to turn out all these drums at the same time, I can do that right here. Now we have no drums.
Nah,
Let me turn them all up. I can do that too.
Seen them niggas moving different, I ain't get suspicious, I'm just moving differently. Thinking that they got the drop on me, I hold my head, as I mentioned, kiss my.
So this is an easy way and a quick way to be able to just navigate and to be able to control multiple faders on tracks at the same time. If I wanted to mute everything,
getting better under pressure. Old
put this back to the right volume, but
getting better under pressure. Old bitches trying to trap me cause it couldn't get nobody better. New women try to lie me till my time still I got a better.
I wanted to solo it, I can do that. All right, so for tip number 3, we're basically going to be going over how you can find like missing files in your clip list and put them back into your track. Sometimes you might be doing a session and you might by accidentally delete a track from your edit window and you can no longer find it. A quick way where you can find those files that's missing is by going to the clip list window and then dragging it back into your session. All right, so just like the track session was here to the left, if you go all the way to the right here, right, you'll see that you have another cross, right? So if you click here, you'll see that you have all the clips basically that's in your track right here. Whenever I click on one, you see that it pops up, right? Let's say, for example, this audio file right here got deleted somehow. Like you click delete, you were in the session, you were working, and you by accidentally deleted it. And let's say you know the name of it. See how this is like lead 1.053201. Let's say you deleted it and you can't find the session no more. Obviously, you would have to have a more descriptive name. But a quick way where you can find that is you can go to this in this clip list and you could go right here and you can literally just drag it back into your session. For me, sometimes you might delete it, and when you bring this back, you might not know exactly where the vocal was. And that's going to lead us to our next tip. So our next tip is going to be basically using what we call the spot mode to place audio files in the right spots to where they were recorded. All right, so you see this file, right?
Needs to hit it back when I'm exhausted from a long day, I'm listening. Needs to hit it back when I'm exhausted from a long day, I'm listening.
So let's say by accident we deleted this record. We deleted this here. We kept continuing to work in our session, record it, and then later on in our session we realized, yo, that vocal that I had isn't here any longer. We can go right here, find it, right, bring it back in our session, but I still don't know where that's supposed to go because now it's in the wrong place.
Needs to hit it back when I'm exhausted from a long.
It's not in the right place, right? So I can toggle this spot on, right, and click on this, and you get something called the spot dialog. What I use this for is, you see where it says original timestamp and user timestamp. If you click the up arrow and if you click the up arrow on the original timestamp and click OK, it'll literally place every record into the right spot. Let's say I by accidentally moved this into the wrong spot. If I click this spot and I click this and the spot dialog pops up, and then I hit up on original timestamp and then hit OK, boom, back to this right spot. So now everything is playing smoothly as one.
I ain't even had to cut you off, you did it to yourself and you won't disagree. She get a little bit annoying with the calling when she missing me. Still hit her back when I'm exhausted from a long day, I'm listening. The party was dark, well, you know that was me by the way that the color was glistening. You know I'm.
So now this is how you can basically use the clip list to find any missing files that you accidentally delete from your session, or this is how you can actually use the spot to basically, if you move anything slightly off a grid, if by accident you're working in a session and things get slightly nudged over and it's like, oh, it doesn't feel right, doesn't feel like it's in the right spot, you just go to this spot, you toggle spot on, get the spot dialog box, and boom, hit original timestamp, and it'll go directly to where it needs to be. So for tip number 5, I'm gonna basically be showing you how to enable automation in any plugin that you're using. So you're gonna be able to enable automation on whatever parameter on any plugin that you want very quickly. All right, so I have this session right here, the same session that we've been working on. So let's say I went to this plugin right here, right? And I basically wanted to edit certain parameters and just automate certain things so the music could change over time. A way I could do this is in Pro Tools. All you gotta do is hit Control, Option, and Command at the same time. So if I hold them down and I hit any parameter on this plugin, you see how you can see these two options: enable automation for noise level. So basically I can enable automation for saturation right here, and you see how it turned red. Now if I come down here, if I come down to the waveform, the automation lane is right here. So now I can just go ahead and draw my automation, and it's going to be there for that one parameter.
The way that the color was, the way that the color was glistening. The party was dark when you know that was me. By the way that the color was glistening, you know I'ma flex this a little bit.
If I wanted to do it for this parameter, I can also just hit let's say flutter. I wanted the flutter depth to go up. Enable. Now if I go here and check right here too, flutter depth is here now. So now if I want to draw in automation, boom, I can do that.
Little bit on there, I'm listening.
If I wanted to do the same thing for here, I can do that. Now if I go right here, input level, the draw in automation. For me, so basically using that shortcut Control Option Command and then hitting any button allows you to go into any plugin and just enable it, and then you can come in and draw in your automation here. All right, so for tip number 6, in addition to automation, one thing that we can do is use the touch and latch modes. If you go to this part of your Pro Tools session where you see you see that you can select the option touch and latch, right? So these automations allow you to basically automate stuff on the fly. Instead of having to draw things in like we were doing previously, you can basically draw in things on the fly. So with touch, whenever I automate, it'll snap back to the same level after I release whatever I was automating. And with latch, whenever I'm making an adjustment to automation, it'll stay to wherever the new point that I made the adjustment to. So I'm gonna show you guys. So let's say we're gonna make this mix knob enable for automation, right? And we're gonna come here, and yeah, we're gonna make this mix knob. And let's say for this section right here, let's make the mix on the Valhalla Vintage Verb bigger so that the reverb will seem like it's getting bigger. So with this touch, once I turn it up, it's gonna become louder, but it's gonna come back to 19.4 after I release it. So let's hit play.
Listening, you know I'ma flex this a little bit.
You see how the Valhalla mix went up, but it went back to 19.4. That's how you use touch mode to basically automate parameters in your tracks. But with touch mode, it comes back down to 19.4. So whenever you want to make a quick adjustment and go back to your volume, you can do that. So if I wanted to turn up the volume, I can do that as well.
Listening, you know
it's gonna come back to 0, 0. So that's very useful, and that's how you do quick automation in Pro Tools. Another one that you can use is Latch. Latch is a little different, is because once you make the change, it's gonna stay at the new point that you made the change up to. So like let's say we're adjusting the decay this time on the automation, right? I'm gonna turn the decay up so the reverb is gonna be big. But instead of it coming back to 3.97 seconds, it's gonna stay wherever I automated to. So let's do that. Let me hit play again.
Listening, you know I'ma flex this a little bit.
And once I hit stop, that's when it's gonna go back to its normal volume. So that's the difference between the latch mode and the touch mode. And you could do that with anything in your parameter. You could do that with your panning. You could do that with the volume. I can enable other things in my plugins and tweak stuff and use the touch and latch mode to be able to just get quick automations. So this is something that I use in my workflow, especially when I'm mixing. I could just tweak stuff and have my songs come to life very, very quickly. All right, so for tip number 7, we're gonna go over how you can use like markers to navigate through your Pro Tools session like really quickly. I use markers a lot whenever I'm doing like mixing sessions or editing sessions. So like let's say I want to go from like the intro to hook, and then I quickly want to start editing the hook. I can just set up markers so I could just move throughout the session super quickly. It's good for your workflow because you might be recording an artist where, okay, yo, let's work on a hook real quick. You could quickly just go to the hook, or let's work on the last verse, the third verse real quick. Even though nowadays they don't use third verses, but let's just say you're working on a third verse. Yo, let's work on a third verse real quick. You could just quickly move to the third verse. So I'm gonna show you guys how I set up markers and how I access them real quickly with like shortcuts. All right, bet. So we have this session again. So let's say if you go here in the rulers, it probably won't be on for you, but if you go here in your rulers, you could turn on anything that you need. So if your marker controls is off, all you gotta do is turn that on, right? So once you turn the marker controls on, you'll see right here, you have this plus sign. It's shortcuts to do this, but I'm gonna just show you how to do this here. And I can put in any marker I want. So intro, boom. So now I have this intro marker right here. So if I'm on this side of the song and I want to go to my intro, I could just click here, double click here, and it goes straight to my intro. So let's say I wanted to go to the hook. I mean, let's say if I wanted to go to verse 2. I'm getting better under pressure. I'll just do another marker and I will name this verse 2. Old bitches trying to trap me because if I wanted to put verse 1, I'll do that right here. You have another memory location. So basically, I'm just setting up markers to where I have my whole song. I have one for song end. So I know, okay, this is where the song ends. This is where the intro of the song is. This is where verse 2 is. This is where the hook is. So when you have bigger sessions, or when you have like sessions with like multiple artists, you can have everything split up so you can access, okay, let's work on the featured artist part. I can have featured artists put there. Let's work on the hook. Let's work on the bridge. I can have that set up. So for every marker that you set up, it's set up. This will be marker 1 and this will be marker 2. Well, I did this second, but marker 1, marker 2, marker 3 is for every new one that you create. So if I wanted to hit like the first intro marker, I would hit period, 1 period, and it'll go to like the first marker, right? So boom. If I do that, well, the first marker I created obviously was a song end because I did that off stream, but that'll go to the first marker. So now if I wanted to go to the second marker that I created, I'll do period, 2 period, and then went to the intro. So now if I do period 3 period, it'll go to verse 2, period, 3 period. Now say, so honestly, the best thing to do would be to create your markers in order. So let's do that right now, actually, so it can make sense. All right, so I'm gonna create the first marker is gonna be the intro. Second marker is gonna be the verse 1. Third marker is gonna be verse 2. And then I will just make one for the song end. I would definitely have way more markers usually set up, and usually I have markers already set up in my template, but this is a good way to just be able to navigate through your song quickly. And this one is going to be song end. Song end. End. Boom. All right, so now if I hit period 1 period, it goes to the intro. Period 2 period, verse 1. Period 3 period, verse 2. Period 4 period, song end. So I have 4 markers and we're able to just access them super quickly. And this is perfect. So like if I want to be like, all right, let me go mix verse 2 real quick, especially if I'm like zoomed in and I'm working on like editing a couple stuff and I'm like, yo, let me work on verse 2 real quick. Period 3 period, we're here. Pressure. Old bitches trying to trap me. Now I can do it. All right, let me work on verse 1 real quick. Period 2 period. For free. Them niggas moving. So markers is like an easy way to just navigate to like different areas of your session, and it's like perfect for your workflow. So for tip number 8, we're gonna be using the link track and edit selection button and a few shortcuts to basically be able to move up and down and left and right on our edit window. So I use this shortcut to be able to navigate through Pro Tools and be able to navigate through my edit window extremely fast. So I can move up and down between tracks while I'm editing, and I can move between clips like extremely fast while I'm editing. It's super good for whenever you're like working on a mixing session, or even when you're engineering and recording somebody. It allows you to like move in the edit window extremely fast. So I'm gonna go to Pro Tools and I'm gonna show you guys how I do that. All right, so if you come in this session, you see here where you have these buttons at top here at the top window. If you go to this second button here, you see it says link, track, and edit selection. You have to have this enabled, right? Once you click this and you see the blue light come on your keyboard, you have P, L, semicolon, and comma. So you can use these buttons as another keyboard. So P would be the same as up, L would be the same thing as left, this would be the same thing as down, the semicolon, and the comma would be the same thing as right. So when you have that link and track and edit selection toggled on, whenever I'm in any session, if I click down, you notice how it's going down through all my tracks, right? So I can access any track. So if I'm in the middle, I can still access any track. If I hit P, I can go up to any track. If I hit L, it goes to the next selected clip. So let's say I'm here and I click L. It's gonna go to the end of this clip. If I hit comma, it's gonna go to the right of this clip. If I hit comma again, it's gonna go to the end of this clip, which is gonna be the end here. So you could easily just navigate through clips and move up and down along your tracks. So if I was recording and I wanted to record here, I can just easily record here. Let's say I'm working on a recording session, I can easily work here. If I'm zoomed in and I want to go and edit some more audio clips, I can literally get here and start editing. Get to the next clip, zoom in, and start editing. So turning on this link, track, and edit selection, as well as adding a few shortcuts like the P, the L, the semicolon, the comma, it basically gives you like another keyboard in terms of like your arrow keys to be able to navigate through the session. So that with another few things basically just allows me to move super quick. So now you can see I can go here, I can move to the next session, I can move to the front, and I could get to the whole entire session without even having to put my hands on the mouse. So for tip number 9, what we're gonna be doing is committing your tracks to be able to like save CPU power, and it also allows you to be like a little bit more creative whenever you're working as well. Committing tracks is basically like printing your tracks in session, but in Pro Tools, you're able to do it like extremely quickly. And the reason why this is good for your workflow is because sometimes you may be using plugins, like let's say you have a track that has like a lot of plugins that's basically slowing down your CPU power, especially when you're using pitch modulating plugins like let's say Sound Shifter or like Alter Boy. If you try to record while using that, you'll notice that you'll get like some type of like latency and your vocals will be recording slower. Even in your mixing session, you'll notice that your computer will start crashing a little bit more. So what you can do is commit your tracks and basically print them in session, and then that frees up all of CPU power. And I'm gonna show you guys how to do that right now. All right, so we see this track right here. I have enough CPU power in my computer that's built in, so it can work with this. But let's say you were working on a session that you didn't have enough CPU power to run all these plugins, right? I have automation going on that's going to be automating as well. So I don't want all of this. I don't want to be trying to record over this. So one thing I could do is I can right click here, and you see where it says commit. You can hit commit. Once you hit commit, you see this little menu thing pop up where it says commit, and you basically commit and select the tracks. The good thing about committing is it's basically going to create another track, and it's going to insert this basically right after the track. So insert after the last selected track. And the good thing here is you don't want to delete it. I think you always want to keep the original so you can have it in your computer. So what you could do is hide and make it active. When you hide and make it active, what's going to happen is it's going to go here in these tracks. You're going to be able to find it in these tracks here. So if you need to access it again later on in your session, it's going to be here. But what you do is you go to commit, this pops up, insert after last track, sends group assignments. You can keep anything and hide and make inactive. And basically, if you have automation on your track, you can select that as well, and you just hit OK. And what's gonna happen is gonna load up, and boom, I have a printed track in my track. And basically, the track that I have originally is right here, right above it. See how it says lead 2, duplicate 3 is still here. But if I need it, I can show it and make it active, but I don't need it currently. So I have this track right here, and now I have free CPU where it doesn't give me issues. And if I wanted to, I can even add. So now if I wanted to, I could start even adding more plugins and then commit it again. So that gives me more freedom to add way more plugins than usual on a specific track. And if I want to pitch stuff, I can pitch it. If I want to fade stuff out, if I want to reverse it, if I want to add more effects to it, I can do that with this audio track. So one thing you could do is you can always print your tracks, commit it in your session, and now you have access to get way more creative because now you have an audio file with everything that all the tweaks that you did is already printed now into one audio file. All right, so for the last tip, for tip number 10, what I'm gonna be showing you is how I use shuffle mode to be able to edit audio clips way faster and be able to rearrange my track extremely quickly by using shuffle mode. It allows you to basically move your tracks around without in fewer steps. So I'm gonna go on Pro Tools and I'm gonna show you how to do that. All right, so here we have this beat. I'm gonna play some of it real quick. All right, so if I wanted to take this first 4 bars, right? Let me grab these first 4 bars and cut them. So if I wanted to take these first 4 bars and I wanted to duplicate it, what would happen is if I click Command D and I duplicate, it's gonna overwrite the information that's here. So where these 808s come in, it's gonna overwrite that, and now we don't have that in this section no more, right? You just have a different section of this. Matter of fact, let me do that right here. So you notice this section here where there's no drums? I mean, there's no 808. If I wanted to duplicate this section right here, it would overwrite this section right here. And now we don't have this section here no more. It just goes directly to this. Right? But with shuffle mode, what it does is it will basically move this section right here. It will move all of this over the amount of your cut, and it's going to basically duplicate this here. So shuffling is basically, if I wanted to duplicate this and without overwriting this and moving this farther, like based on the clips. So if I hit shuffle mode, if I click duplicate, it's gonna move this section right here. It's gonna move it over and it's gonna duplicate what I have. So it's a better way to basically arrange my tracks whenever I want to keep information in my clips and I just want to just rearrange things. It's the best way to do it. So let's say if I wanted to delete this on grid mode, if I delete this, we're gonna have a space where we don't have information here any longer. And so now if I was recording to this, we'll have a section with no sound. But a way I can just get rid of this section and then rearrange it by moving all of this over, an easier way for me to do is just go to the shuffle mode and hit delete here. Now it's gonna drag all that over. You see how, and you notice how it moved all that to the left? So now I can use shuffle mode to rearrange my song, and where it's always gonna be snapping to the grid and be snapping to the previous clip. So I use that a lot whenever I'm in recording sessions or whenever I'm in mixing sessions. I use that a lot also because you can basically rearrange bridges, choruses, and move them over with vocals and everything, just move them over to different parts of the songs without having cuts in your songs or basically holes in your song or missing parts. Shuffle mode is a great way to just rearrange and edit clips in your session, and it's definitely something that I feel like will improve your workflow. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos of me mixing songs from start to finish and showing the entire process, then hit this like button and hit the subscribe button and head over to these videos right here. Appreciate it.